Words. Okay, yeah.
Squiggle.
The squiggles are there. The squiggles are there.
Squiggles?
Let's go.
Hey! Konnichiwa! And welcome to Top Class Tokyo, a weekly Weeb podcast about life in Japan and the collision of Asian and American culture. I am your host, Kim Sensei, English teacher by day and by night, podcaster extraordinaire, broadcasting to you from Okinawa, Japan. Joining me today from sunny Los Angeles is my lovely co-host, Justine.
Hey.
Hi!
Okinawa, eh?
Yeah, so a little bit of a misnomer for this special episode, Top Class Okinawa. This was a kind of an unplanned episode, but I figured, what the heck, it's Golden Week. Might as well enjoy a bonus episode while I'm on vacation in Okinawa. So here it is. Enjoy, listeners. But yeah, so we're kind of out of the practice of recording every week, I think. But yeah, I have a bunch of anime things I can talk about from last month actually in in Tokyo. So this is still Top Class Tokyo podcast, but I went to the Baki exhibit at the Tokyo Dome for the 30th anniversary. I don't know if you've seen Baki.
I've heard of it. I have not seen it though.
Yeah, I had no idea what Baki was going in, but I saw it, like, all I've seen was, like, the little thumbnail preview art on Netflix, and all I knew that it was a very violent, it's basically like Fight Club, and, like, buff dudes punching each other.
Bet.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool, actually. I went with my big Weeb friend to the Bak Exhibit, and I didn't really know what to expect because it was at the Tokyo Dome, but it was very much an art exhibit, and they had the original manga pages from the manga on the wall. So it was like walking through like a gallery, and there was also some really cool, I don't know if they have like actual figures for sale, but these looked like one-of-a-kind figures. So like they looked like sculpted models. So there's a lot of 3D sculpture art, and then also like really huge, I guess 1-to-1 scale models of the actual like fighters in the show, so that you could kind of like stand next to them and look like you're fighting, like pose like you're fighting them. They had actually built this like octagon ring. So for those of you who don't know, Baki is basically like this underground boxer who is just like competing in Tokyo to become like the greatest fighter in Japan or whatever. And it actually takes, like, a lot of the fighting actually takes place at the Tokyo Dome, so which is where a lot of sports tournaments happen. So it was kind of cool having this exhibit at the Tokyo Dome. I think that really enhanced the experience, but yeah, it was really cool. There was like sand on the octagon. It was very, very, it put you in the manga, so I thought it was pretty cool. What else was there? Yeah, I don't know. So Baki, I still haven't watched it, but judging from the art, I wasn't sure how to feel about it, but if it almost looks anatomical with how the art is drawn, because of how like over exaggerated the like muscles and like every like punch is drawn. Like it reminds me of like those old Jet Li movies where like there's like one movie where he like punches someone and then it's like an X-ray vision of him like shattering the person's like spine. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Very gory, lots of blood. Yeah, definitely if that kind of thing, if you're into, like, one of my favorite anime / mangas is Ajin, which is also very, very bloody, very gory horror manga. I think Baki might also be something you're interested in. So it's very, very dark, very dark series. So, but the art was cool. Just judging from the exhibit alone, because I haven't read the manga or seen the anime, but looks really good.
I'm trying to recall if that's the same. Like, I think I've seen a cover to one of the mangas for that anime before, or that manga before. Is it where the art style is very similar to Hajime no Ippo, where it's like boxing, where it's like a lot of lines, but it looks more like realistic than most cartoony animes?
It is not realistic whatsoever.
Okay.
It's like hyper realistic because it's almost like, I want to say it's like Dragon Ball, where like the dudes are just so like over exaggeratedly like muscular, and then they're just like the poses are just like overextended, and like people's like limbs are like bending in ways that they shouldn't be bent. So like yeah.
So very like JoJo art style, where it's like everyone's big for excessive reasons, but it's kind of like, all right, I'll go with it.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
it does have a JoJo kind of vibe, but not as like, I don't know, not in like the same kind of like direction.
Okay.
Like with JoJo, I would say there's more like fashion kind of consciousness, whereas Baki is going the opposite direction, and it just like, they're basically almost all of the fighters are just wearing like boxing shorts and gloves, and then they're just like beating the shit out of each other. So like, that's, if you're into that, that's there's 30 years worth of content of Baki for you.
Oh boy. What else you got on your
yesterday I actually my other Weeb experiences that I actually caught up, or not caught up, but I actually started watching Spy X Family.
That's been on my list. My coworkers all like, oh, have you watched this? And I was like, not yet, but I'm inclined to because the art looks kind of cute.
I know. I've been seeing it everywhere on my timeline. So I finally had a chance to watch some anime yesterday, and I watched the first 2 episodes, and oh my god, it's so wholesome! Oh my god! It's like, I didn't know what the balance was going to be between like how much spy versus how much family, and it is like almost entirely family. I would say there's like an 80-20 ratio of family to spy, and I did not expect that because I thought it was going to be a lot more action oriented, which there is some action, but you really can tell like that's not the main focus here. And like, even in the animation, it's like the movement is a little choppy for the action scenes. Some of them are pretty cool. I love like some of the shots and the choreography, a little creative. I wish that like, as a live action, I think the concept would be really cool. If they translated it into a live action series, that would be I would really love to see something like that. But yeah, like, it's all about family. It's all about the family.
I would hear, or I'd see all the memes about how Spy Time's family is like a weeb's only like exposure to what a healthy family dynamic is.
I don't know about healthy. I don't know about healthy, but they make it work. I think it's very cute because it's like a found family, and it's like they never intended to be a family, but here they are. Yeah, a lot of like, I don't find the plot to be very it's very fluffy. It's a very fluffy plot, and the little girl is just getting by on her cuteness and just getting away with like all kinds of things that, you know, I feel like the standards would be higher for other anime.
Did you watch this to wash out all the nitty grittiness from the exhibit that you saw?
Well, I mean, it's been a couple weeks in between, but yeah, I feel like, yes, if you need to like bathe yourself in a wholesome family-oriented anime, like Spy Family will do that for you for sure. It kind of like, I was expecting Mr. and Mrs. Smith adopts the girl from Stranger Things. That's kind of what it reminds me of a little bit, because the little girl is I didn't know going in, but she's an Esper, or like she's not telekinetic, at least not in the first 2 episodes so far, but she can read minds, which is kind of how she was able to bring together her adoptive father and mother,
Oh.
who are a spy and assassin, respectively. So it's pretty, it's like, yeah, like it's a series you can't really take seriously. It's very light, very fluffy, even though it's like supposed to be like, I don't know, like it wants to be this like gritty action, like Born Identity, James Bond type of anime when it does get into like the spy side of things. But it just like, I think the first like spy plot revolves around some political figure being embarrassed about wearing a wig or something like that, and they have like embarrassing photos of him in his fake wig or fake hair, and it's like supposed to like ruin his like reputation if this word of this comes out. So I don't know. So it's like, yeah, it's a very, it's like Mr. Bean level plot, but everyone's taking it very seriously. So yeah, so if you're gonna watch this, it's really, you're watching it for the family and not for the spy.
Okay.
But
a little more inclined to, because when I saw the previews, I was like, is this like just action stuff? Because action's okay and all, but that's what I have Demon Slayer for. Like, I already have that category filled, so I need some other filler since I already caught up on, what's that? My Dress Up Darling too, so I have all my pervert stuff filled in. So I was like, yeah, I guess the Wholesome Family plot will fit the whole category I haven't filled yet in terms of like my Weeb repertoire.
Yeah, and it's nice because like, what other families are really portrayed, you know? Because it's like, we have in America, we have like The Simpsons, so you get like, you know, an entire nuclear family, but like, where is that ever seen in Japanese anime? In like, because you never, it's always like a broken family.
Yeah.
That's always like featured in like all the popular animes, or there's never any parents, or like one parent is missing. But there's like, this is like, it feels like, you know, like it, and they come from like non-traditional, you know, they're not biologically related, but you know, they've made a family. So it's really adorable. I think it's really cute, and they're doing something different, and I can see why it's gotten so popular. But yes, I give it an A on my report card.
I feel like it pulls at the whole like, your family is like what you choose vibe that a lot of weebs have, where it's all like a lot of poor family background, but then your friends are like your family thing. So it kind of, I feel like it can pull that direction, because I definitely identify with the my family sucks, but I'll make my own family type of vibe.
Yeah, I think it was not what I expected, but I kind of liked that because it turned into something else. Like, so it was just like a lot more heartwarming than I thought it was gonna be. So this is why I'm like rating it so high. So, because like it does have a lot of flaws. If it does bother me that there's just a lot of like plot drop and like exposition and just like, hey, she's an Esper and can read minds for no reason. So like,
by the way, this.
Yeah, but like, it's a really cute dynamic. So, and it's just really touching to see a lot of their interactions. So yeah, A on the report card. Baki Exhibit was badass. A also on the report card. Yeah, and that's it for as far as like weeb stuff goes.
I've been a bad weeb. I've been actually just watching a bunch of like regular like streaming shows. I binge watch all of Euphoria, and that was it was interesting. I was mostly asking questions of like, what time, like what era does this fall in? Because everyone's houses look old as shit, but there's Instagram in the story, so I'm just like, this has to be like present time. But at the same time, like, whoever did the design for like the background and like the houses and stuff, it's like, is this really what like people's houses present time look like, where it's just like old 80s furniture? And I'm just like, I'm really confused by it. But it was mostly,
I haven't watched it.
It was mostly one of those like, oh, I just kind of watched it because guilty binge watching, and I had access to HBO at the time, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's watch this in 2 days. But the character design, like, I really liked all the Hoey outfits and like all the cute makeup and shit, and just like, y'all supposed to be high schoolers? The fuck? This is what like all these like international folks are gonna think America's all about everyone just wears all this gaudy makeup and all of these like coat clothes that you can obviously not wear in high school because midriff, but and cleavage, but whatever, because it's trashy and it's like a good like guilty pleasure to watch.
I mean, like, I've been hearing criticism about it from like older generations for those same reasons. Like, be like, oh, like these are like 30-year-olds trying to portray like high schoolers, blah blah blah. But then I've also been hearing a lot of like Gen Z on social media saying like, hey, actually a lot of this is real life for us, and this is actually like relatable. So, but I haven't watched it, so I can't really pick a side or say much about it. But that's just kind of like what's been the conversation that's been happening that I've heard about. So
yeah, but I think I mostly just watched it because I was just like thinking, well, back in my day when I was in high school, none of this shit would have flown. And then again, like I'm thinking, you know how like when like international folks watch American TV about like American high school, like it's always the cheerleader that's with the jock, everyone always goes to house parties, and it's like, damn it, now all the international folks will just think this is what American high school is like and this is what all Americans look like, and I'm just like, oh man, you're setting them up for failure. Because yeah, I guess to some extent there's that aspect of like the teenage experience present time, but it's like it's kind of like the updated like, oh, this is the portrayal of what early like what this generation's like what's a American like high school TV show that's based on high schoolers. I just know like Archie comics and shit. So I'm just like
Archie comics.
But like, you know, the whole it's always like the jock is dating like the preppy girl, like that setup.
I feel like but I feel like we've gotten a lot of subversion in that genre already. Like we've got Glee, High School Musical. There's been a lot of like iterations of like high school dramas, like enough to the point where I feel like we've come full circle. Like,
but that's kind of like
right
this century's high school version of like Glee, High School Musical, but make it more grungy and more drugs. I'll also make it super fashion because the fashion is hella cute. But whatever.
But I feel like it's always been like, maybe not so grungy, but like I feel like drugs have always been a part like of growing up in America, at least for like at least within the last 50 years, I would say. Like there's just been like that's been a part of like teen culture and just like the drama that happens at high school and like youth, the development of like youth culture. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to talk about it because I haven't seen this show, but
but like the concept's pretty much there. It was kind of like, oh, this is the new generation's version of this is what high school is like.
Yeah, and also I didn't want to start it because I heard the ending is kind of like meh.
It's okay. I was mostly there. I was mostly there just for the cute outfits and makeup anyway. They got nice ass nails. And I'm thinking, where the fuck are all these kids getting this money for all these drugs and all these nails and all this shit? Like, damn, who has a vanity like that? Who has a bedroom like that? Damn, these fucking rich ass kids. Whatever. But it's like I was really confused because it's like, okay, you guys all live in these like dated shitty ass houses, but you can afford all of these bougie ass, like you get your nails did, you get like all this bougie ass makeup, you have this whole wardrobe of fucking like makeup and shit, and just like, what the fuck?
I think it's supposed to be like this amalgamation, right? Because it's like, I feel like the writers are our age, but they are using the aesthetic of Gen Z.
Okay.
So that's why I feel like it's kind of like this weird mashup to make it relatable to like more than just like like Zoomers, you know what I mean? Like that's why like everyone is watching this show because it's sort of like trying to do both. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
But either way, it was fun. Yeah.
This is my speculation. Speculation.
So this is what I was wasting my time on instead of watching anime. I'm sorry.
Report card. How would you rate it?
The whole series, I would rate it maybe like a C, just because I felt like the ending kind of was like, I felt like they just ran out and they're like, oh, okay, I'm done, okay, bye. That's how I felt the ending was. But like, I was mostly there just for like the trashy eye candy, and I was just like, oh, I love mindless drama, let's go. But it's not like, oh, this is something I'm gonna reference back to and be like, guys, this show was fucking great. So it's kind of like, I was there.
Yeah, see, that's why it's been kind of a miss for me.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay.
But I also really like dumpster fires, and I was like, I'm also a victim of doing things because they were there. So, yeah, it falls into the categories of things I do just because it was there, and I was like, I pleasantly regret it, but whatever.
Sounds like the good old high school days. We were all there once.
Some have never left. Right.
Yeah, so any travel recently?
Let's see. I have travels coming up, but I haven't gone anywhere since last time we spoke.
Okay, so last time we spoke about your Santa Barbara hot springs, magical hot springs trip.
Yeah.
So I guess since I'm in Okinawa, this is our Okinawa special. I could talk about my little excursion to the Kurama Islands. I finally made it out to the Kuramas, which is this little island chain just west off of the coast from Naha. Took a high-speed ferry. Took about an hour to get out there, and just did a little day trip. And the highlight for me going out to the Kurama Islands is that there's a dog. Okay. I'm recording a podcast. Okay. Okay. So the highlight for me is that the two of the islands are connected by a disappearing beach. So during okay. During high tide, oh my god, this dog. During high tide, there's a beach that basically disappears. It just goes under the water. There's like a thin strip of sand that connects these two islands. So it's like a little sand bridge. So during high tide, the water rises and the little sand bridge is submerged underneath the water, and then low tide, it reappears. So I just thought that was like so cool, and I was like, oh my god, this sounds like a pirate like mystery like island where you would go bury your treasure, and like you can only get to this one island during low tide.
2 times a day.
Yeah, basically. So I don't know. I just thought that was really cool. So Zamami Island is where this is located.
So are they like little islands, or is there like people that live on the island?
They are very, very tiny islands. I think there are people who live on the island. I don't know how. There's probably a tiny like population of maybe like 50 or 100 or less people on this island. I'm not sure if they're there full time, because it's basically like there's basically nothing else on the island except the little town right by the port, and just a handful of like B&Bs, not Airbnbs, but like bed and breakfast type of places where you can like little hostels. And like it's pretty much just like catering to all the mainland tourists who have come out and like do like their diving trips, because there's a lot of coral all around the island. So
that's cool. Really cool.
Yeah. So that's also Zamami Island's A+. Yeah. So Okinawa, A on the report card. Zamami Island.
Better really than that cool first failed trip with the bad weather and then just the bad food.
Yeah, the weather still isn't that great this week, but the rain like held off just long enough for, for us to like explore the island. So,
Okay. Improving.
improving. Yeah, I got a very cloudy beach day in.
That's good. I'm glad it's growing on you.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That's it. That's all that I've got for my content for today. But should we wrap this up? This special. This was just a very short and sweet episode. I just wanted to like check in and make sure that our 12 audience members are still subscribed.
I'm such a fool. I was like, surprise, there's a surprise channel. I was like, fuck, I haven't watched any anime. I'm sorry, I was watching trash shows instead. That was literally me, but whatever. Everyone knows now, that's fine. I'm cool with it.
All right, I guess we'll wrap it up. Finally, we'd like to end with some Q&A. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or requests for topics you'd like to hear more about, please reach out to us on our social media at Top Class Tokyo on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, or send us an email at topclasstokyo@gmail.com. Thank you so much for tuning in, and class is dismissed. Oh my god, I actually used that line while I was teaching English class. Like the bell rung, and I was like, class is dismissed!
And they're like, what? Honey?
Yeah, class dismissed.
Did they understand you?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I teach them the English.
I've literally been staring at this like case of tacos while we're recording because I fucking pulled up plate and I was just like, I'm so fucking hungry. Oh wait, let me stop.